Welcome to my podcast, Today's Dream, Tomorrow's Reality. My name is Vicki Poole. I'm a master transformational coach and hypnotist specializing in habit change. This podcast is sponsored by the Enlightened Peach, and it's all about embracing our mosaic life. And some of you may ask, what is a mosaic life anyway? Well, it is recognizing that all the pieces of our life, the good, the bad, the indifferent, have all come together to make us who we are. Change any one thing, and we are different. With that in mind, I invite you to embrace your perceived imperfections and celebrate who you are. This podcast is unedited and raw, just like life. I am your host, and today I have a special guest that I will introduce in just a moment. But before I do, I would love for you to do me a solid, and that is to leave a comment or ask a question. And once we get finished with this, if there's any questions that we didn't answer and you want to know, just drop the message in the question in the comments, and we will get back with you. And also remember to like, subscribe, and share. And the reason is I have amazing guests on my podcast, amazing guests. And I want to help them get their story out to an even broader audience. And the only way that I can do that is with your help. So leave a question or a comment and like, subscribe, or share. And with that, now let's get started. So this lovely lady right here is Stacy Davis, and we really don't know each other. I
No.
just I had somebody message, I was in a group and somebody said something about what do you do? And I put that I had a podcast, and she said something, and it was like, when she messaged, I sent her a link, but nothing was there till June. And then suddenly I had someone that canceled and I was able to get her right in. So it's like perfect intervention, divine intervention got you here.
Uh,
And I will share with everybody, for those that have been following me for a while, you may be aware that I've had George's Cordova on my podcast several times, and he is a stage 4 cancer survivor and a cancer coach. And so this lovely lady is also a nutritionist, and she'll give you the whole label because I can't remember it. However, I know she coaches people who have cancer, and so I was really intrigued because, like I was just telling her, and you all may already know this, but we're not everybody's cup of tea, right? And so there are some people that may be needing a cancer coach, and for whatever reason, George's just doesn't give them that spark. So maybe Stacy will. And so this gives me an opportunity to have two different people that really help people with cancer. And oh my gosh, if there's not a person in the world that cancer hasn't touched, I want to touch them because I don't think it's possible. And so I love that I can share one more person that can fill a void for somebody and help them through this. So go ahead and tell people who you are, and then we'll dive into some questions.
Sure. So I'm Stacy. I'm a culinary dietitian. What got me in this field, like the cancer part just fell in my lap because as a kid, what got me into nutrition was my grandmother, God rest her soul. I love her. But when I was like 12 or 13, she told me that if you eat pasta, you'll lose weight. So I went on a pasta kick for like 2 years. And
Uh-huh.
all I did was eat pasta and drank Crystal Light iced tea. So
Mm.
pasta wise, I did not discriminate. Any pasta was fine. But after years of doing this, my hair started falling out and I was always doubled over in pain. So my mom took me to doctor to figure out what was wrong with me. Looking back on it, it is kind of obvious, but we finally went to an alternative medicine doctor. One doctor told me it was female pattern baldness and I better get used to it. But we finally went to an alternative medicine doctor. And the first question was, what do you eat? And when I told her, she's like, well, you're malnourished. And then we figured out that I had food allergies too. So I was allergic to meat and salmon and all this stuff. So at a young age, I realized that what we put in our body affects so much about us. It affects our hair, our skin, our nails, how we feel, like all of that stuff. So I decided to become a dietitian. I love cooking. So I went after I became a dietitian, I went to culinary school. And I moved down to Florida. I'm from New York. I moved to Florida. I didn't want to wait till I
I can
retired.
hear the New York in you, just so you
Just a
know.
little. It comes out when I get excited. But I remember I was working at a nursing home. I loved it. But then I'm like, okay, I want a little bit more challenge. And I remember getting a job at a hospital and they told me I would be on the oncology floor. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And I had to Google what oncology was because I didn't know. And I looked it up and I'm like, cancer? Like, what am I going to do with nutrition and cancer? Like, I want to help people, but I don't know. I had a misconception about cancer. But when I got into the field, I realized there is so much that nutrition can do with cancer, especially while they're going through treatment, about eating healthy and having the nausea, having the vomiting, have the diarrhea. And nutrition is so important. I fell in love with the field. So I love teaching people how that food shouldn't be stressful. It shouldn't be feared because there is a huge fear of food in the cancer community. People don't eat because they don't want their cancer to come back, so they restrict themselves. All this stuff, and I get it. I mean, it's scary, to hear you have cancer. It's not a fun feel. I haven't been diagnosed with cancer, but I've been through it with family members and just been in the field for so much. But you want to do whatever is possible to prevent it from spreading or coming back. So I really fell in love with the field, and that's why I work with people now because I felt some cancer centers don't have dietitians. They don't have people available to them. So I wanted to be able to help more people
Hmm.
who are interested in learning more about nutrition
Yeah,
to help
beautiful.
themselves.
Yeah. Well, the thing to me is, and I know this is getting a little off of it, but, prevention is the best part, right?
Sure.
And when you go to any hospital, especially nowadays, they have fast food places
Oh, yeah.
inside the hospital. And it's
Oh,
like, what the heck are you telling people? And so
yeah.
that is mind-boggling in itself. And when you go to the doctor and they decide that there's this wrong with you, I have never, ever, ever had someone say, well, let's talk about what do you eat? Let's talk
Yeah.
about your nutrition. Never. It's like, let me see, let me give you this medicine to help it.
Right.
And so I love that you're coming from this place of the nutrition and doing nutrition itself, and then going into the to the cancer stuff and doing all the research, because that's really what people need. And if
Yeah.
you have someone that has cancer and you want to help them with nutrition, this is it. But then if everybody in the family adopted it, then maybe the next person wouldn't get the cancer. And
Yeah.
and I'll share real quick. I'm um, a health coach, a life coach, a transformational coach, and a hypnotist. And I had a person that I knew that found out she had cancer, and it was stage 4 already when they found it. And I started talking to her a little bit about the nutrition stuff that I know from being a health
Mhm.
coach, which I'm not a nutritionist, but the stuff
Mhm.
that I knew. And she was on board with, let's do this. And so I helped her with checking to see what her alkaline level was in her body and gave her some suggestions of what to do. And when she started telling her family about it, they said, are you crazy? That's the
Mhm.
stupidest thing I ever heard. And then she was pregnant at the time. They had the baby shower. There was cakes and pies and sugars, and there was not a damn healthy thing in the whole thing,
Mhm.
right? And she walked away from getting any of the help
Mhm.
because her family wasn't on board. And that's the
Yeah.
saddest thing to me, you know?
It is, and I hear both sides of the story because you have one side where family wants to help, like really help,
Mm-hmm.
and they take everything away from their loved one because
Ah.
they're scared too. So, like, I called a client or she called me, we're on the phone, and she's in tears. She's like, I haven't eaten. I'm starving. My family took everything out of my refrigerator. They took everything out of my pantry because they said everything I have is going to cause the cancer to come back or cause the cancer. So I said, well, what do you have in your house? She goes, all I have is chicken and vegetables. And she goes, it's great, but like she's going through treatment. She needs extra calories. And I said, okay, first of all, do you have a car? She goes, yes. I said, do you drive? Yes. I said, okay, your job is to get in the car and go to the supermarket right now and get some healthy foods in your house. We don't have to restrict ourselves completely, you know, but family does want to help too in one extent, but it's not helping the situation, and
Yeah.
people give advice, oh, you have cancer. Oh, well, you shouldn't eat dairy. You shouldn't eat sugar. You shouldn't eat meat. You shouldn't eat this. You shouldn't eat that. And the list keeps going and going. And the patient, they're shocked. They're like, oh my God, what's left? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, we can make everything bad.
Oh, yeah.
And especially with the doctors too. I do work with, you know, some doctors, they don't take nutrition classes. And I have one story with a doctor that I've worked with for years, and he would tell patients, just go to a fast food restaurant, get, a burger, get fries, get a soda. You just need the calories. You just need the calories. And then they'd come see me. I'm like, okay, we want to do healthy calories. Like I get his thinking, but we want to make it healthier. But this same doctor, he watched the documentary Forks Over Knives.
Uh-huh.
He became a vegan. So now from going to eating fast food, he's telling everyone to become a vegan. And I'm like, okay, now we have the two extremes. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to go to McDonald's, like a fast food place and get, burger and fries, but you don't have to become a vegan either. We have to have a happy balance, a medium in there. But I thought it was really funny because, the doctors do, they tell patient, you eat what you want. It doesn't matter, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
it because it's,
Yeah.
like I like to explain it, it's like our car. You take care of your car, you put good gas in your car and it runs well. When it's down low and no fuel in it, is it going to run? No. The
Yeah.
same thing with us. We need to put good fuel in our body. If we're eating cookies and cakes all the time, are we going to run properly? No, we're probably going to be lethargic and tired and not feeling well. But if we put the good food in our body, the fruits, the vegetables, the beans, the nuts, the seeds, we're going to feel better. Our skin is going to feel better. We're going to have more energy. And I think fatigue is one of the biggest side effects I hear from people is that they're tired, but we have to put good fuel in our body to make it run properly.
Yeah, that's definitely a good analogy because I even I have a friend who is a mechanic and he even told me, when you go get gas and put it in your car, he said you also need to look and see, are they a what is it, a class A? Well, I don't even remember what it was, but you even have to look at that to make sure that they've got quality gas, right?
Sure.
And before that, it was like, what? I thought gas was gas.
Yep.
But it's not. And it's the same with food. Food is not
Yeah.
just food, it is
Energy.
fuel for our entire bodies, right?
Yeah.
And there are people that discover that they have all kinds of food allergies and they have all these different things. And so they could keep eating all the things that are bad for them too, but they have all the results. And I think the difference to me with nutrition and cancer, and I could be wrong, so just correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the danger lies is that we can eat like crazy, but things don't show up for such a
Yeah.
long time. And so it's like there's a book I love. It's by Jeff Olson and it's called, I forgot. Anyway. But in this book, he talks about the fact that if you eat a burger and fries today, you're not gonna see any difference today. But if you do it for a week, you might not see much. But if you do it for a month or 6 months or a year, and you do that burger and fries every single day, it eventually comes to the place where your cholesterol's too high. You've gained a lot of weight. You feel like shit, you got pimples and all those things, but we're not realizing that that was what caused it. We're looking back and seeing, you know, it didn't seem to bother me at the time, and we don't see the correlation. Is
Right.
that
And
an accurate assessment?
I do. And
Okay.
if someone's I don't want to knock a burger and fries because if you want a burger and fries, it's fine to have. We just don't want to do it all the time. Like I don't want
Right.
someone to
Like I said, every single day,
right.
that's when we notice what it does.
Right. And I think part of the problem is because I've had family members, or not even family, friends of family who have diabetes, who have high cholesterol, and they didn't care. They ate what they wanted. Their blood sugars were, they weren't even taking them, but they weren't feeling really anything because they were used to high blood sugar levels. But
Yeah.
as the years went by, they're in their 70s now. And you know what? They're not doing well. They have to get amputations. They have to get, dialysis because their kidneys aren't working. So yes, they weren't feeling it at the time, but the long-term um process, it damages you. You might
Mm-hmm.
feel it at that moment, but if you keep doing it and not eating well, it happens. And it's sad to see because it could be somewhat preventable because you
Right.
do have control of what you eat. And it
Yeah.
doesn't, I had a client yesterday who told me she's trying to lose weight and her friend lost a lot of weight. And she said to him, like, what diet did you follow? And he said, I followed the shit diet. And my mind went in two different directions for the shit diet. But his definition of the shit diet, sorry if we can't curse, but
Oh
it is
no,
what it
we're good.
is. But it was the shit diet meant that he ate anything that didn't taste good because healthy food tastes like shit. And I was like,
Oh.
because I thought laxative diet,
I
but
did I was thinking that, or maybe he ate too much bran, I don't know.
healthy foods don't have to taste bad. And that's what I want to like yell and scream from the rooftops, is that it doesn't have to taste bad. Like certain foods I don't like that they say are healthy, but we all have different taste buds, but foods don't have to taste bad. Healthy foods do not have to be like, it shouldn't be a chore to eat, or it shouldn't be miserable to eat. And because if it doesn't taste good, I know me personally, if someone gives me a shake and it tastes like shit, I'm not going to drink it. I'm not going to force myself to do it. I want food that tastes good. So
Right.
it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. I tell a lot of my clients that it's time to be a food snob,
Yeah.
because I'm a person that I dieted my whole life. And when you were talking about some of those, the crazy pasta diet, oh, I had one that it didn't last 2 years, but I did a
Yeah.
popcorn diet. All I
Oh,
ate
okay.
was
Yes.
popcorn and Diet Cokes and
Yes.
water. That was it. And I
That was
lost a hell of a
popular.
lot of weight, huh?
That was very, very popular because when I used to go to camp and our counselor was a model, and
Uh-huh.
she was on the popcorn diet, and that's all she ate was
Oh,
popcorn.
wow. See,
Yeah,
my family, I thought I was the only one that ever did that. So that's crazy.
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I cooked it on the stove, and it was almost like the process of cooking it on the stove was kind of calming, you know?
Sure.
And I would pop it up, and I would sit and I would eat, and I'd keep a big bowl on the counter,
Right.
and then I would just eat off of it periodically.
Yeah.
I went on the Atkins diet one time. When I was on the Atkins diet, I lost weight and I lost my hair.
Sure.
It was crazy. The thing that I tell my clients is that, for one thing, diets don't work. You got to
Right.
figure out a lifestyle, right?
Sure.
And I told them that as a dieter, I used to be that if it was a cookie, I didn't care what it tasted like. I knew it was a cookie, it was like one of those indulgences, right? And
Mhm.
so if it was a food that I thought I wasn't supposed to eat
Right.
and it didn't taste good, I'd still eat it because I didn't know when I'd get to eat that again. It was that kind of thing. And so I always tell my clients, become a food snob to where if it doesn't taste as you imagined it or better,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, man, that don't taste like what I wanted. And then just move on. Yeah.
And also sometimes if you're craving a cookie, like let's just say you are craving an Oreo cookie, you know what? Eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you play this runaround game of, okay, I want a cookie, so I'm going to eat like a chia chocolate pudding instead.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
no, that didn't satisfy me. I'm gonna try a banana. Maybe that'll satisfy me. And it doesn't. And you pick all these foods, and then eventually you're like, screw it, I'm gonna eat the
Eat the
cookie, and you
cookie.
eat the
Yeah.
cookie. And you just ate like 800 more calories that you should, if you would have just eaten the cookie to begin with, you wouldn't have gone around this whole circle and eaten, 800 more calories.
Right.
I'm not saying eat the whole box of Oreo cookies, but if you want a cookie or two, like, it's okay. I
Yeah.
want you to know that it is okay to have.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I feel about that too is that if you want the cookie, whatever it is, or a piece of cake or whatever, but make it a ceremony, make it a thing where you appreciate. So put it on a
Yes.
plate, light you some candles, make it something that's amazing. And so
Oh,
do you remember the movie When Harry Met Sally?
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and she's in the restaurant and everything. I said, if it don't make you feel like that, then you
Uh,
don't need to eat it.
I know. I remember I went out to dinner with some coworkers and I was the first one to order dessert. Like I ordered cheesecake and the social worker looked at me and she goes, "You're a dietitian. You're eating cheesecake?" I said, "Yeah." Like I like cheese. You know what? I didn't eat the whole thing. After 2 bites, it was fine. I satisfied my sweet tooth and that was it. And I moved on from it. Like you have to allow yourself to
Hmm.
enjoy it, like taste all the flavors. Like I'm a huge like chocolate and peanut butter. So I think it was like a chocolate peanut butter cheesecake. But you suck on it, you enjoy the flavor.
Yes,
Like you
yes.
it, you mindfully eat, you pay attention to what you're eating. I'm not just sitting there eating the cheesecake and not paying attention to it. I
Right.
really took in all the flavors that were there. So I tend to eat less of it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
enjoyed it. It made me happy.
I know, I know. See, I love that too, because it's so funny, especially if you've been a dieter your whole life, you eat faster. Plus,
Yes.
I've been a hairstylist for over 30 years. So I eat fast because sometimes you
Oh,
only have a few minutes between clients, like and then
yep.
but the thing that I really, really is one of my things is to take some time to just
Yeah.
breathe it in, get the smells, because our digestion, I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know,
Yeah.
but for those that don't know, your digestion doesn't start from the moment the food goes down into your stomach. I feel like it starts the moment you start preparing it.
Yeah.
And then because you're anticipating it, and then when you're smelling it, and then when you get it in your mouth and you take the time to chew it properly. And there was,
Yeah.
when I was in the health coaching school, we did this chewing challenge where you were
Yes.
to see how much you chew, right? And
Hmm.
when I sat down and actually did it, it was like 5 times.
Yeah.
I would chew 5 times and then I would swallow the food. So it was not near prepared enough for what it
Yeah.
needed to do. And so if you don't mind, maybe because I'm sure you know a hell of a lot more about that than I do.
Mhm.
But maybe share a little bit about that and how that works with your body.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to even the cook, like what you were saying about the cooking aspect of it. Like let's just say you're making rosemary chicken, and you're adding different seasonings to it. Like you want to sit and enjoy it and taste the rosemary, taste the garlic, taste the salt, taste the pepper of it, and we do want to chew our foods, like, because if we don't chew it, because it's digestion starts in your mouth. I mean, when you start chewing your food, that's when everything starts breaking down and then it goes into your body and the enzymes are released to absorb these nutrients. So if we're not chewing it properly, we're not going to absorb it properly and we're not going to get the nutrients that we need. So really paying attention and chewing your food. I used to tell clients, chew your food 20 times before you swallow it.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, it's very I mean, for certain foods, it is harder, but it's just not inhaling your food. I went out
Right.
to dinner the other night. We went out for Japanese food, and I was with my chopsticks, and someone was like, "Oh, just give me a fork. It's so much easier." I'm like, "Yeah, but just think, if you're using the chopsticks, it's slowing you down a lot because it's harder to use because you're not used to it, but you're not getting as much on the chopsticks than you would a fork. So
Mm-hmm.
just be that mindset of slowing down because it does take your stomach to tell your brain 20 minutes if you're full or you don't want to overeat. We want to be satisfied. We want to stop eating when we feel satisfied, not the Thanksgiving day like rolled over full because that
Yeah.
means you ate too much and
Yeah.
that's extra calories. And if you're trying to lose weight, we want to feel satisfied, you know?
Yeah.
And not wait too long to eat because if you wait till you're starving, then you tend to eat fast and you overeat. So
And
we
you
want
make
to
some of the wrong choices. that you
Yes.
wouldn't make otherwise.
Yes, and my biggest thing is, I'll preach it to the day that I'm not here anymore, is that we should be prepping our food and have things ready for us in the refrigerator, because if we don't, we are gonna grab whatever is easiest, because if I'm hungry and starving, I'm gonna grab a bag of chips or whatever is there. But if you have melon that's already chopped up or apples that are already chopped up, you're more likely to choose that since it's done
Hmm.
and ready for you. Because I'm not gonna lie, if I'm starving, I'm not gonna be like, "Ooh, let me go cut and clean a melon." No, I'm not. I
Yeah.
wanna eat. I wanna eat now. I wanna grab whatever is fastest. So,
Yeah.
having things ready for you, is a big thing.
Definitely. And I will say, I'm not really good about doing the pre-prep stuff like making the meat and everything ahead of
Mhm,
time because it's just for me and this may be some other people, I don't know. If so, put in the comments when you get ready that yep, that's me because what I do is like I don't like to lay my clothes out the day before either because I don't know what I'm going to feel like wearing, right? And I feel the
right.
same way with food. It's
Mhm,
like, I don't know what I'm going to want, but I will say that right now, I had a salad yesterday. I made this huge salad so that
mhm,
it is in the fridge. And I know that today, when I get hungry at lunchtime, I'll have
mhm,
that salad to munch on while I'm figuring out what else I'm going to eat.
right.
Right. And so to me, like I always have a bag of carrots.
Mhm,
Sometimes I'll have a bag of celery going, but I'll do little things like that that I like to munch on. And
yeah,
but actually, because I have some friends that they will on Sundays, they make all their vegetables, all their meats, and all this stuff, and they'll even have them in containers in the fridge. And I think, oh, that is so amazing. But that ain't
yeah,
me. And not to say I won't ever do that, but for now, that doesn't feel good. But so I figured out what works for me and how that
yep,
actually I know I won't let something go bad in the fridge because that's not what I really want today, you
right,
know, because that's what I think my thing was as I didn't want to just put things in there and then oh no, no chicken, no this, no that, and then them just go
right.
bad.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think everyone has to figure out what works for them. I mean, I prep. So I have things prepped and ready, but I don't have it put together. Like I don't have the salad together. Like I always have hard-boiled eggs in the house. I always have cooked mushrooms. I always have quinoa. I always have chicken. I have
Oh,
vegetables that
that reminds me, quinoa. I need to fix some quinoa.
I love it.
I
But
do too.
because the thing is that to save time, it takes like 20 minutes to make, let's just say. But I don't want to do that on a daily basis. So on Sundays, I make a big pot of it. So now it's cooked and ready to go. So now it's done. All I have to do is if I wanted to make a stir fry, I could add the quinoa. If I wanted to add it to soups, I could do that. If I wanted to add it to eggs in the morning. So at least it's prepped and done that
Yeah.
I don't have to keep making it to
Yeah,
save
thanks for that
time.
reminder because it's like I've got this huge thing of quinoa in the pantry, and it's like for some reason I haven't made it in a little bit,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it was like, oh man, I remember that taste and everything, and I love having I have a whole bunch of dried beans, so if I
Mhm.
want beans, I'll soak them the night before, and I'll fix some beans in the Instapot,
Yeah.
and I love making some soups and throwing some quinoa in, but
Yeah.
having it already fixed. Yeah, thank you for that reminder. I'll be doing that later today.
No, but it's great to have things prepped and ready because I remember, just sometimes you want a fast meal. So if everything is just prepped, like the chicken's cooked, the quinoa's made, and the vegetables are made, all you have to do is throw it in a pan and heat it up, and
Yeah,
you can add a little sauce to it, and you're done. 5 minutes, dinner is done.
yeah.
I'm into the time saving stuff because listen, I am a real person, and I'm not gonna lie, is that if there's nothing in the house to eat, what are we gonna do? We're most likely going to order in or go out to eat. Most likely order in, but you know what? All you have is Chinese and pizza places to deliver. Could you
And
make
let's
this
and let's talk about the cost for just a minute. I
Oh
mean,
my
the
goodness.
other day I was craving pizza.
Okay.
So, my daughter
What's
had my
pizza prices
car,
by you?
huh?
I said, "What are pizza prices by you?"
Well, if you go into the pizza place, it's not so bad. But
Okay.
you do have it delivered by Uber Eats or
Yeah.
DoorDash or anything like that. A $15 pizza. Once they finished with all the different things that they added to it and everything, it was close to $30.
Oh, well, so for us, pizzas are $30 or 25 to $30 just for the pizza. That's not delivery or anything like that.
That's
If
a small pizza?
for a small pizza, it's 20. If you want a large pizza, like a small pizza, like what is it, 6 inch, 9 inch, whatever
Yeah.
it is, a small pizza. I remember I got my son a pizza and it was a half plain, half chicken parm. So it had a few pieces of chicken on it. And it was 17.99 for his pizza. Like
Yeah.
that's a thing for sauce, bread, and cheese. And I get it. I know it's time consuming and all that, but
Yeah.
it's
Well,
expensive to go out to eat now.
it's expensive. And like I said, when I went to do because I didn't have my car, so I was going to have it delivered. And when I started looking at, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's not so bad. That's not so bad. And then when it got to the end, holy smokes, is that pizza
All the
worth that to
fees.
me? I
No.
don't think so. I'll figure out something else. And I still haven't had the pizza yet.
Yeah.
So I'll wait till I
Yeah.
go out and I'll get a pizza. But
Yeah.
it's like it's mind blowing the amount of money that can be spent on that. Used to you could order from the pizza place and have them deliver it and they'd add a couple bucks on, right? But those days are gone. And so it's a
Yeah.
lot to think about. I mean, for the amount of money that I would have spent on that one small pizza and having it delivered, I could go get a good bit of food. And there's a place there that's near me, and I order just about every week from them,
Mhm.
and it's like it's all fresh produce. It's
Mhm.
30 bucks for this box full of fruits and
Yes.
vegetables, right? They deliver it to my door,
Yep.
and the same 30 bucks was more food than we could eat in a week.
Right.
And it's like, let's do the math here.
Yeah, and I know food prices have gone up. That's the biggest thing and that I hear from people is like it's so expensive to eat healthy, but you just proved the point that it doesn't have to be. There are cheaper ways to eat healthy and it doesn't have to be expensive.
Hmm.
Like I'm not
Yeah.
here promoting that you have to buy everything organic and all that stuff, but there are great supermarkets that are reasonably priced where, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg because I like Italian food, let's just say, I know we order chicken parmesan dinners and just for the chicken, pasta, and a salad that's like white lettuce is like $20. But I could buy, and if we wanted to buy organic, I could buy organic chicken for $5.99 a pound. What, a box of pasta is a dollar, maybe two? A jar of sauce is $3. So add that up, I could feed a family of four, you know, for less than 10 bucks,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's easier to make things at home.
Yeah.
But learning
Yeah.
how to cook and, I find enjoyment. So I love being in the kitchen. That's my that's my therapy.
Well,
That's where
see, I like it sometimes, and then other times it's like it feels daunting,
yeah.
and that's the times that would be good for me to have a few things prepped in the fridge,
Yeah.
so that I don't get pulled into that space of, oh, I'm just not going to eat, or, what
Yeah.
is there that I could just throw together? Let me just grab a couple of nuts.
Yeah, but you know what? Nowadays, I know the supermarkets by me, I sometimes it is a little bit pricier, but they have things that are already done for you. Like, so they have the onions chopped up, they have the peppers chopped up. So you can buy it where you don't even have to waste the energy chopping it. Because I know, especially going through cancer treatments, sometimes you don't have the energy to stand and cook a whole meal. But what's wrong with buying a cooked rotisserie chicken, some, onions and peppers that are already chopped up? You can make fajitas, like buy a
Yeah.
wrap
Yeah.
and that's it. All you have to do is throw it together and heat it up. So there are ways to make it, more doable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going to Taco Bell and getting, who knows
Yeah.
what.
I mean, because like it is true, the thing is a calorie is not a calorie is not a calorie because it's how nutritious that food is for that 100
Sure.
calories that you're spending. And I don't really care for counting calories. So I have it's the Nutritarian handbook. That's what it is.
Mhm.
And it has the nutritional value of different foods. And so
Yeah.
I like looking at that.
Yeah.
because I'd rather know, I don't really care the calories. I care about how nutritious it is. And
Yeah.
like I used to be vegan for quite a long
Mhm.
time, for several years. And the thing that I would say about being vegan, I said, well, it's really difficult sometimes. However, you can buy all kinds of crap that is
Yeah.
vegan. I mean, the Oreos were vegan, right?
Well,
So
balls are vegan
yeah,
or
there's so much stuff that's vegan that doesn't have any nutritional value at all. And so I think all of these things can get kind of lost in translation in a bit.
yeah, and I remember back in the day, or even today, still, they have like the 100-calorie packs,
Yeah,
different snacks, which I think is great because, especially for nuts or something like that, because it's showing you like what 100 calories looks like. But when you look at the labels of it, like they have I don't know, Oreo crackers, 100-calorie pack of Oreos or whatever. But when you look at the nutrition, there's no fiber in it, there's no protein in it. So you eat it and you're going to be hungry 20 minutes later.
yeah,
I'd rather get a 200-calorie, let's just say, protein bar that has 30 grams of protein in it and maybe 5 grams of fiber. At least it's going to fill me up longer.
right.
And, I'm not going to start noshing and eating all different other things. Like
Yeah,
I look, the two things that especially are the calories and are the protein and the fiber that I
right.
look of,
Yeah, yeah.
what's nutritious.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question. I know you started off talking about your wanting to lose weight and your grandmother or
Yeah.
your grandmother had lost weight, right? Doing the pasta, or she
Yeah.
advised you with the pasta, right?
She
So was
just made a
before,
comment that it was
okay.
low in calories, and if you eat pasta, you could lose weight, but I took it to, like, just eat pasta.
Right. Well, I one of the things that I've shared on a lot of the podcast is, I said I was always a dieter. My first diet, which really
Mhm.
wasn't a diet, but the first time I became aware of dieting was when I was in the third grade. My
Yeah.
dad was always dieting, and he had these cans of Slender in the refrigerator,
Mhm.
which are, I guess, the new Slim Fast or something
Slim
would be the
fast.
equivalent today.
Mhm.
But and I remember I was in the third grade.
Right.
So I read the back of the label and it said that if you replaced a meal with this, you would lose weight. So
Right.
my little third grade mind, I thought, oh, if you drink one of these, you lose weight.
Right.
If you drink more than one, you lose more weight. So I
Right.
drank three
Oh.
and I got in so much trouble. But it was like it kind of my mind was going in these crazy
Yeah.
places of quick fixes and all these different things. So did you have a weight thing that you were struggling with, or was it just a mind about weight thing?
I think I thought I was fat,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I begged my mom to take me to Weight Watchers, and I don't re I have to ask her, but, I don't remember how old I was, but I begged her and she took me, and they didn't wanna take me because 'cause they're like, "You're not that overweight," but in my head, I was. I mean, I wasn't anorexic or anything, but yeah, so that started doing that, and then I think I went to college and I started doing the Slim Fast stuff, which obviously didn't work because I would drink the shake and be hungry, so I'd eat breakfast too,
Yeah,
so obviously that didn't work. I did try the laxative diet, like, I've tried so
me
much stuff,
too.
and you know what? As we said before, diets don't work. Even yeah, there's just so much out there, and especially now with social media, people like I was talking to a client yesterday that she's read that if you put flax seeds in water and drink that, you'll lose weight. And I'm like, okay, like if you're getting flax seeds, it has fiber and protein. I said, but people might be losing weight because they're replacing that with their breakfast and they're cutting their calories. I said, but number one, it's not a magic pill. Like, you're not gonna just drink that and lose weight. Like, yes, it might fill you up a little bit more because it expands but yeah, I think we've all tried it, but the bottom line is the diets don't work. Just look at us, how many diets we've tried between the two of us.
Right, right.
Obviously, some might work, but then how long did it work for? Because once you stop it, you gain all the weight back. And nowadays with all the medications for weight loss, um, it's crazy because my concern is that fine, you lose the weight, but now what?
Yeah,
Now, what did you learn from it? Even like some meal delivery services. Like, yes, I agree that it could be helpful for people who don't want to cook or don't have the time to cook. But if you're doing it for weight loss, what really is it teaching you? Like, once you stop getting those meals delivered,
Mm-hmm.
what are you going to do with it? And most of the people gain the weight back. Like,
Yeah,
yes, it
actually, the
the weight.
statistic is that 80% of the people who lose weight through diets gain it back within 1 to 2 years. And then it goes up even higher when you're looking at 3, 4, and 5 years. It's very, very seldom that somebody keeps it off 5 years or more.
And we do put so much on weight, and it's really not about the number on the scale, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So much going on, it doesn't matter. Let's just say you're 5'2" and you're 100 pounds, let's just say. You're in your ideal body weight range, but that doesn't mean you're healthy. Like,
Right.
it doesn't mean anything. It's just a number. The numbers fluctuate. I could go on the scale first thing in the morning, and it's going to be different than at noon and at 7 o'clock at night. It fluctuates all the time. And for someone to focus on that to make their day a good day, well, I'm 150 pounds now, but
Yeah.
you know what? We can't focus on that. I'd rather
Right.
somebody, really get their blood work done, get your body fat checked, like get your muscle checked, see how much you have because that is a bigger indicator of what's going on in your body than just a stupid number on the scale. And if you are listening and you don't like the scale and you go to the doctor, you are allowed to say no about going on the scale. You don't have to go on the scale if you don't want to. So,
Oh,
um
that's good to know.
but we do, like, we focus
Because
on
see,
that.
I always tell my clients, just get rid of the scale because that's not an indicator of health. I mean, because, there are a lot of people, like you were just talking about, a lot of people are very thin and they're not healthy. So it's not what size you are. And one of the things that, and I didn't realize, I think there's actually a book by this name, but I used to tell my clients all the time, the goal is not to be in the smallest casket in the cemetery. The
Oh,
goal is to live a long life,
right.
right? And be healthy. And the older I get, the more I'm even more aware of the health that I'm creating in the moment, right? Because, the thing is we don't have to be, you know, coming down with cancer, having these joint pains. We don't have to be coming down with all these ailments to where, we see so many people that are older that can't walk,
Yeah.
definitely can't go up steps, it's just mind blowing. But then you look and there are other people, if you look for it, that are doing extreme things, running marathons and, being bodybuilders, and they're a lot older. And it's like,
Yeah.
so if everybody was stuck with this horrible effects of old age, it would be everybody, right? And it's not. And
Mm-mm.
I think that one of the things that is important for us to do is to search out and look for people that are doing older age in a better way and start mimicking them and learning what are they doing for their nutrition, what are they doing for their fitness that enables them to be that way. And because to me, when I was 20, did I think about that? Hell no. But as I got older, yes, because everybody I saw that was just a few years older than me were like, I'm thinking, oh my God, I do not want that in my life. And so then I started searching for other ways.
Yep. And you know what? You also have to find what you enjoy doing,
Yes.
especially with exercise and moving. Like I could sit here and say I love spin and everyone should take a spin class, but if riding a bike isn't for you, you're not going to do it. So you have to find what you enjoy doing. Like I know my mom loves gardening and oh my goodness, the exercise she gets from gardening is incredible. She walks up and down hills. She has to bend down. She has to reach. You know, it doesn't have to be going to a gym. It doesn't
Right.
have to be running. It has to be what you enjoy doing. So if it is gardening, if it is dancing, if it is riding a bike, it's the movement that you're going to do, not
Right.
what
Yes.
it doesn't matter what I like.
Yeah. Well,
Don't like
I've got a
Zumba.
funny story to share with you. For one thing, my sister is the gardener. I mean, like she will be so sore the next day after she's been gardening. It's like crazy. But when I was thinking about I was looking for people that were older, that were doing extreme things. And I came across this woman who was a
Mhm.
gymnast when she was young. Well, she can still, like, she was in her 80s, I
Wow.
think, or mid 80s, and she was still doing the balance beam and she was doing all these things. And I told my niece, this has been
Uh-huh.
quite a few years ago, I said, oh, I said, that's what I want to be when I get old.
Right.
She said, can you do that now?
No.
No. She said, then you might want to pick another one.
Well, you can still learn.
It was just funny though. It was like, I
Yep.
want to do that. No, I can't do
Yeah.
that now. It might take me a
Yeah.
long time to get to that place, but it was just funny. So I just had to
Yeah.
share that.
No, but it's true, but you gotta find what you enjoy doing, and, like,
Yes.
even with the cooking and all of that, if you don't enjoy cooking, there are ways around it to make food at home. You don't have to be a gourmet chef,
Right.
uh,
Well, I'm
but
definitely
it's
not a gourmet chef.
I love
Well,
plating it 'cause we eat with our eyes first, so it should look pretty.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I definitely want to make it look pretty and
Yeah.
set the stage for where it's going to be sitting, right? So let me ask you, I know we're getting kind of close to time. So I know the thing that you primarily have started helping a lot of people with is the cancer, is dealing with the fact that they've gotten cancer, because it's a very big mental state that
Mhm.
they're put in, right? Just because the cancer has got a capital letter where everything else is small, right? Um, and so you're helping them with the mindset around it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And then the nutrition around it and how to better to not be to increase the energy and decrease the amount of effects that they get from
Mhm.
the cancer. Am I correct in
Yes,
that?
and especially the ones that I work with during treatment, like how
Okay.
to handle, the side effects of it. If you are nauseous, to run to KFC and get some fried chicken isn't the best decision.
Right.
But
So
working
in
with
that case, what would you tell someone to do?
for the nausea,
Mm-hmm.
like, just keep it simple, we want to do ginger because ginger helps with nausea if it's ginger tea, ginger candy, but keeping it simple, like, keeping it with the toast, like what mom used to make you when you weren't feeling well is the
Right.
toast and the soup, and it is okay, and I like to tell my clients that there will be days that you don't feel like eating, and it is okay, like, I don't want you to beat yourself up because I do see a lot of families, knocking heads, um, but taking advantage of the days that you do feel well. So eat a little extra just to balance it out because there is a lot of bickering and fights between families because families cook for the loved ones and they serve food and then the look of the food turns people off.
Mm.
So learning, okay, do small portions, pretend they're a child. Like we want to do little portions and it's a mind game because if I gave you a quarter of a sandwich and you finished it, you feel more accomplished versus me throwing a big hoagie in front of you saying, okay, eat the whole thing and you only take a bite of it. You're mad because you know you should have eaten more. The family's mad. Well, I just made this for you and you didn't eat anything. But if you would have just given them a small little piece and they finished it, like everybody is happy.
Yeah,
So
beautiful. So does that mean that you work with the whole family too, or
I do. I mean,
okay?
it is a family thing. I do
Mm-hmm.
work with caregivers because I do feel that they are sometimes the most important person because they're in charge of everything. They're the one cooking, they're the one cleaning, they're the one taking their loved one to the doctor's office. So they're the one who needs to be educated because if you're sick and you do have family who's helping you, they're mostly going to do it. But then you have the patients who don't have loved ones or they're alone, like they have to cook for themselves. So teaching them how to cook easy meals or, meal delivery services that'll help them. So it is a big, the caregiver, the patients, like there's a lot of people involved in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The
Beautiful.
aftermath,
Mm-hmm.
when people are finished with treatment, usually I am just dealing with the patient because they're in the now what, okay, I'm done with treatment. The doctor tells me my cancer is gone. Like, now what? Now what do I do? Now what do I eat? Like, where
Yeah.
do I begin? So then it's working with them of trying to get their life back of, eating healthy. And sometimes with the cancer treatment, most people assume, oh, cancer, chemo, I'm going to lose weight. But you do have the patients who gain weight during treatment because they're on steroids and appetite increases. So now you have the people who want to lose weight. So there's a lot of different
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
aspects.
Yeah. Plus, we're all
Everybody is
individuals with
different.
what we really want out of the end result anyway, right?
Yeah, and I think not, I work with a lot of breast cancer patients and we're women, like we were talking about, we're always trying to lose weight and now they have cancer, they got mastectomies or whatever it is, like they have a lot on their head and now they're on steroids and they're gaining weight. They're pissed. They're not happy, you
Yeah.
know? Even though cancer is still there, like, I don't want to gain 20 pounds. Like, so it's trying to help them maintain their weight or try to lose weight a healthy way during treatment. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a lot to unpack there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of mental.
Yeah, yeah. I would say, in my opinion, it's
Mhm.
almost all mental because the rest of it, if you've got the mental place right, the rest of it you can work out very easily.
Mhm.
It's because when we don't have our mind right, we fight all those ideas and those thoughts that are coming
Yeah.
at us, right?
Yep, and the food is the one thing you kinda do have control over, was what you eat, sometimes you give it to the doctor of, "Okay, my doctor's telling me this medication, this radiation, like, all these treatments, there you don't have control over that, the doctor does. The one thing you do have control over is what you eat, so
Yeah,
it becomes a battle.
yeah, yeah. So as we're kind of wrapping this up, what is one piece of advice that you could give someone who maybe they've just found out that they have cancer, or maybe they've had cancer for a while and they're struggling with the mental stuff and the food, and what is one thing that you might could give them? And that may be a big ask. I don't know.
Now,
Um,
one thing is breathe, like.
mm,
And the second thing is one food is not going to cause your cancer to come back or cause your cancer. The stress of it is real, but if you do want to enjoy that fried chicken or if you want to eat that cookie, it is okay. It's the one food is not going to cause your cancer to come back. I think that is a major thing for people to hear. 'Cause
okay.
they stress it, "I can't eat it. My kids
Yeah.
are co it's not. The one food, the one glass of wine or it's not a one-time thing.
Got it. Beautiful. Thank you for that. And so I want to say again, thank you, Stacy, for being here, especially with such late notice of yeah, I could do it now, kind of thing. It worked out
That's the way I
perfect.
work better. I'm a last minute type of girl. I hate planning.
Well, it worked out perfect for us. And so I feel like it was, like I said, divine intervention that got you on here today. And so I appreciate it. And just to let everybody that is listening or watching remember what I said before, if you have some questions for Stacy, something that she said kind of brought something to mind, and you want to say, I don't understand, or what can I do in this instance, then just put it in the comments, ask the questions, because once this is published, she can come in and look anytime she wants to. I can look and we can see what you're asking about. And well, she will, I'm pretty sure, I'm speaking for you, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to go in and, answer any questions that people ask, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so there you go. You've got the opportunity here to ask an expert, and she will be able to answer your questions and help you out. So make sure you do that, and remember to like, subscribe, and share, and mostly to share to get her message out to more people, because it's really, really important. And then I will leave you with my quote of the day, which it's always the same quote. I don't know why I said the quote of the day, but. So the best way to predict the future is create it. What are you creating? And with that, thank you so much, everybody, for being here and listening. And I will have all of her connection information in the description so that you can reach out to her and all the avenues that she has available. And thank you again, Stacy, for being here. And thank you all for my listeners. Mwah.